welcome back, nice to see you. Today I will be talking about Poland. Yes, I am Polish Canadian, and that's not the only reason why this video. What is about to happen over there is going to have impact on the whole Europe. Whatever is going to happen there is also part of stage one of the preparation for the magnetic reversal and the whole ice age. So those things are connected. In few episodes ago, I mentioned that before the polar reversal, you will have to face many different challenges, and what is going to transpire in Europe is one of those parts. It may seem that Poland is a small country and it is very insignificant in there, but yet is going to play a major role in changing the geopolitical structure of Europe completely. Therefore, I'm starting a new series here where I will be touching on prophecies or speculation, if you will. It was known to me what is going to unfold prior to the final moments of before the polar reversal.
The Polish government has to explain to us how it intends to protect European money given this ruling of their constitutional court.
Well, there she is, the headmistress, the unelected headmistress, telling the Poles what they can do. Isn't the level of condescension just something quite extraordinary? And of course, the Poles, who lived under communism until just over 30 years ago, are beginning to say, we have had enough of this. And the Prime Minister, Mateusz Morawiecki, has responded by saying that we're being blackmailed, we're being starved. And whilst he hasn't directly threatened that Poland would leave, the threat there is implicit. The Poles are not happy. The Hungarians are not happy. There is a giant cultural divide opening up between Western Europe and Central Europe, and it's something that is not going to go away in a hurry. And I tell you what, if you back the Poles into a corner, they are always going to fight back. There's a fierce sense of national identity in a country that suffered so grievously in so many ways right throughout the 20th century. They're not going to be pushed around by some pygmy like von der Leyen.
Fortunately, today we are dealing with a very dangerous phenomenon whereby various European Union institutions usurp powers they do not have under the treaties and impose their will on member states. We ought to be anxious about the gradual transformation of the Union into an entity that would cease to be an alliance of free, equal and sovereign states and instead become a single, centrally managed organism run by institutions deprived of democratic control by the citizens of European countries.
The Polish Prime Minister has also warned that the EU needs to change its ways because it faces so many potential crises. He talked about possible financial crisis, which he suggested could either weaken or undermine the euro to the point that it could collapse. And of course, there is this ongoing energy crisis in Europe.
One of the most important events that is going to initiate a massive change in Europe is going to be France, where the Yellow Vests, the whole movement over there, is going to topple the government. From what I saw, it is a springtime and most likely somewhere around the Easter time. I don't know, it might be Good Friday or something like that, because I noticed there were preparation for the festivity. So it indicates that that might be the spring. Once they topple the government, once they free themselves from the oppression, as they call it, of the corporate system, they will try to start a democratic process in there. Not everything is going to go according to their plans. Along the side of their changes, along the side of people that want those changes, there are always opportunists following them. And they are always waiting for a moment where they can establish themselves as rulers. And that's the danger that not everyone is paying attention to. That might be the case in this situation. So why am I mentioning France talking about Poland? Because that process, that mess that is going to start over there is going to spread through Germany, Belgium, Holland. All the countries in the way towards Poland are going to be affected by that. Polish people already are not happy with what Morawiecki did. They don't want to leave the Union because it's a cozy place, free money. But that is going to change. The restrictions, the controls. There is always a price to pay when you want the financial benefits. You need to give something in return. And what the European Union is asking for is a bit unethical. I am not going to go into details right now, but eventually Poland is going to leave. So will Hungary. They will sign a treaty. It is going to be called Krakow Treaty. I saw that document. It's very interesting. It's not a big, giant piece of paper. There are only a few pages, but this is one of the most important documents signed in Europe that is going to initiate a massive changes. But this is going to come at a price. Once they leave, once they start planning the joint forces, joint union, the exchanges, the cooperation between those two countries, others will join them as well. That is going to infuriate many, like Germany, Estonia, Belarus. Belarus already is provoking many things. Is very hostile towards Poland. Estonia is hostile towards Poland. There are going to be problems on the border with Ukraine. It's not the Ukrainian people, it's the extremists that they are not happy with anything. They are just trying to have a lot of problems around them so they can be violent. That's the only reason they do that. Same thing is with the Germans. The Germans don't want to attack Poland for any reason. However, the German extremists are ready to strike. There are even neo-Nazi groups already inside Poland that they are making a lot of efforts to topple not only the government but seize parts of southern parts and include them into German territory. That is going to fail, but this is going to come at a price. The revolution in Poland is going to be very bloody because at this point not many people want to get out from the Union. And there are those that understand that Poland forming unity with other countries on the respectful terms is going to be beneficial for all. However, at the beginning, there is going to be a hardship. This is the part that no one wants to invest in. Everybody wants to have everything for free. Anything you want in return, you need to first give. And that is the key issue that is going to escalate to massive bloody war. And that war is going to claim a lot of lives. It's going to be in millions. In the process of that mess, all those countries that are hostile right now, they will try to seize the moment and attack from the outside. Polish people are always the kind of folks that they do not use the opportunity when there is a peacetime. They always stand arm to arm, hand to hand when there is a big giant problem on their throats. That's when they are going to get united. It is going to be a bit late. Because millions of those lives that are going to be lost, they are not necessary. The police force is going to be decimated. Hospitals are going to be decimated. The doctors are going to be decimated. Lots of soldiers are going to die. And there is on top of that going to be internal problems inside families. Because one member is going to be more pro staying in the European Union and others will not. In other words, giant mess. Ukraine at the same time is going to have their own problems and is going to keep aggravating conflicts with Russia on their border on the other side. That is going to escalate to violent confrontations, and no one is going to win. Ukraine cannot win with Russia. They will keep losing and losing and losing, and then finally the frustration they are going to take on themselves and try to invade Poland, but only some of them. Our military, even though many think that the NATO is a good ally, they are very, very wrong about that. NATO is done. It's over. They just try to intimidate. The last exercises they had, Poland had a very low score. And I'm glad that that actually happened, because the people which have brains over there, they did that on purpose. We don't need to show that we are very well trained, very well equipped. It's rather to be the underdog, which is untrained, has no equipment, cannot be relied on, and then when the time comes, they will show what they are made of. And that was the purpose of this whole thing. NATO, even though was kicked out from Germany, they are still stationed in Poland. Big mistake. They should leave as soon as they can, because once the mess is going to start, they are not going to have 24 hours or 48 hours to vacate and take people out of there the way it happened in Afghanistan. They are just going to be destroyed. So it's up to them. The few hundred soldiers that they stationed there, they are in grave danger. I'm just saying that. I'm not making any assumption that they actually will, but they should consider removing themselves from this hot zone over there and let it happen, whatever is going to happen. Same thing with the agencies. There are lots of agencies from Israel, from US, from UK, and other countries, from China, which when the mess is going to start, it's going to be bloody for them as well. And no one is going to look at this, oh, these are outsiders. They are just going to start shooting everyone. Everyone that in their opinion is the enemy of this country. In one of the prophecies of early days of many Polish prophets, they were mentioning that the river Vistula is going to be red with blood. Unfortunately, the same thing was shown to me. There are going to be bodies floating all the way from Krakow to the Baltic Sea. It's going to be really disgusting. But that's their choice. Can this be avoided? Probably yes. The deep-rooted attachment to physical, to object, to material world in that country is very unhealthy. Polish people will always are going to work in Germany, in Ireland, in the UK, just to get money and then come home and become rich. And that mentality stayed with them, and that was passed on to children. And this is something that is really difficult to deal with. They need to start looking beyond money, beyond profits. It's time to start thinking about what they can do for themselves to save themselves, to be a united country where they can live in peace where they can accept and respect other people. So this is just the basic. Why this Poland is important? Once the geopolitical fabric in Europe is going to change, once the unity between Hungary and Poland comes to fruition, where other countries will join, like Slovakia, most likely Romania and others, the surrounding countries, the neighboring countries, that is going to give Europe not only stability, that is going to bring balance. There is going to be they will also form European army where it's going to be completely independent from the Russian and or NATO, because NATO is going to be kicked out from Europe completely. No more bases in Yugoslavia, former Yugoslavia or Poland. They are going to be out of there. Within few years after this mess, they will start healing their wounds and growing in power, which means they will not only look after people in their own country, they will also look after people in other countries. There is going to be a massive cooperation in repair, rebuilding infrastructure, and sharing resources. Something that is going to be done in very peaceful manner. Whatever is going to happen there, it's also going to spread to Ukraine. They will also start that massive change. That is going to spread further. It's going to spread to Canada and then US, but that is going to be only after the World War III. About World War III, I am going to make a special video some other time. This is only the basic information that you need to know. You need to understand that right now you need to observe what is happening in Europe, because whatever will transpire is going to spread everywhere. Australia, Africa, South America, everywhere. This is not going to be something that is just going to be very local and it's going to die over there. No, that is going to spread everywhere. One thing that I was shown is Macron. I am not going to tell you what. I am just going to tell you pay attention. Whatever is going to happen to Macron is going to happen to a lot of politicians around the world. And one of the elements that is going to be very important, that is collapse of every current government in the world. Everyone, every single one. There is also going to be a crash in the financial world that is going to put an end to corporate system completely. In most of my videos, I was mentioning to you that if you want to be afloat, you need to form some kind of unity, some kind of organization, some kind of societies. When things are going to start happening in Europe, then you will understand how important that is. And that is going to be only part one or stage one towards the survival of the upcoming ice age or magnetic reversal, because there is coming stage two, which is going to be much more severe, especially for the people on this side of the ocean, like Canada, US, and South America, because here is going to get really bloody. And once the conflict between China and Russia escalates, there is going to be a lots of problems, a lots of hunger, a lots of famine, a lots of violence. Therefore, it is up to you how you are going to manage your affairs. As a single person, you do not have much chance. Small townships, they should be planning for getting organized. I will end this video here. If you like this kind of content, please do subscribe and check the notification bell. There you are going to receive notifications each time new video is released. Please also give me a thumb up. That helps a lot. Please share this video if you can. I will try, and I am still trying to not to share too much, not too much scary stuff, because I don't have any evidence that I can provide to you how much this is going to unfold the way I am saying. In fact, I am omitting many things not to make that too much of a bigger problem. I already mentioned once that it is so severe that Fatima had to happen, but that is subject for some other video. So thank you for being with me today, and see you in the next video.